so much on my mind. Does anyone listen? There's so much on my mind. I wonder, does anyone listen? There's so much on my mind. I wonder, does anyone listen? There's so much on my mind. I wonder, does anyone listen? There's so much on my mind. I wonder, does anyone listen? There's so much on my mind. I wonder, does anyone listen? There's so much on my mind. I wonder, does anyone listen? There's so much on my mind. I wonder, does anyone listen? There's so much on my mind. What's going on, thinkers? Welcome back to another episode of Thoughts by DeVille DI, where I'm bringing you some of the best talent and the most knowledgeable and entertaining people that I can find for your entertainment and for your educational purposes. Today, I have someone with me. She left in her notes that she was a 19-year-old author. Very proud of that. And I find that very commendable. So today I have with me Arthur Shoyley. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you did. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you taking the time out to talk with me today because, you could have been anywhere in the world right now. So, basically.
yeah, but this is a great platform, so thank you.
So, basically how I like to start off is just get the people a little bit of your background, your upbringing and so on and so forth, because I feel like it can be a inspiration to people out there that may come from a similar background and, may say, hey, well, look at her. She's doing this. I could do that too. So let's start off with just give us a little bit of your background story. Where you're from, where'd you grow up? What has life been like for Shoyley so far?
Yeah, so I've lived in the same town my entire life. I have never moved. I've lived in Boston, Massachusetts, and I have always liked writing. Luckily, it's been my passion, and I used to write poetry and short stories ever since I was young, and I would enter in poetry competitions or short story competitions, and I actually wrote my first novel when I was 9. Of course, it wasn't any good, but it wasn't really good. But hey, we're here for the character development, and so it was about a dragon and his adventures. So yeah, you can laugh about it.
Everybody likes dragon adventures.
This is true. So yeah, when I reached high school, the environment and the atmosphere around me shifted a little. And I noticed that the people around me, my friends, and even people I barely knew, were dealing with mental health issues. And some of them were dealing with stress from school. My best friend graduated as the valedictorian, so he was always under the pressure of being perfect all the time. And that definitely took a toll on him. And I had other friends that were having family problems at home and were dealing with depression and whatnot. So I thought, hey, I've been writing my whole life and I'm not a therapist or a doctor or anything, but what if I can bring light to this issue by doing what I know best, which is writing?
Okay. Now that is kind of a large weight to carry at such a young age. So I'm kind of interested in what made you decide, as far as from what you just told me, but what sparked inside of you to say, I'm going to be the one that's going to take this mission on myself?
Well, I would argue that I didn't think of it at first as like a task I was trying to take on. I thought of it more so something I wanted to write about because I thought it mattered. But eventually it turned into something more than just scribbles on a notebook or just notes on my phone. And that, I guess, happened naturally. But I always felt this inclination to write about something that mattered and something that I would feel satisfied with, but also that other people could feel satisfied with.
Okay. Now, mental health is definitely a topic that's getting a lot of attention right now. So I'm glad that someone of your age group is speaking on it, because I feel like that may bring younger people who may not, a lot of times younger people it's harder for them to take advice from a older person, because for some reason, most of us, when we're young, we look at older people and say, you don't know what you're talking about. But at the end of the day, it's like that person has lived through what you've been through. But with you being in the midst of it at the same time, I think that people may take it better from coming from you. That's just my thought. But so tell us about this, a little bit more about this book that you're writing. What's the name of it?
Yeah, well, first of all, I really agree with what you're saying. I think a lot of the problem is like people my age don't take criticism or advice from people older because they don't care what they have to say. And I think that is really, or can be very problematic, because people are just trying to help other people and look out for them. So I think it's really important to keep an open mind no matter what. But yeah, on to the book. My book is titled Something. That is actually the name of it. It follows high schooler Aaliyah Rai, who is an Indian and Hindu protagonist. Mm-hmm. And it's a coming of age story, and it follows her through her experiences of happiness, sadness, everything in between. She's an aspiring singer, and she thinks that she has what it takes to become a great singer and get into her dream schools, but she soon realizes that life isn't as easy as she wants it to be. So it's her story.
Okay, so you chose to take the fictional aspect instead of the I call it the classroom perspective. It's like this is this, and this is this. That's pretty cool. So I'm assuming that you are from Indian descent.
Yeah, I am. And yeah, you're totally right. While this is fictional, I wanted to take elements from my culture and incorporate it into this book because I thought it was really important.
That's dope. Now I know in my community, the African American community, there is sort of a stigma when it comes to mental health and talking about mental health and seeing therapists and things like that. What is it like what is it like in the Indian Hindu world? Like, or do you guys have those same type of stigmas to deal with, or like, give us a look inside of what that's like?
Yeah, I think we suffer from similar issues, your community and mine. I mean, half of the people in my community, when they have these mental issues, they don't even acknowledge that they exist. They just deny it and say that it's something that we all go through, and so they just brush it off. But that is part of the problem. The thing is, you need to be able to have access to the resources that help you get out of this. And that's super stigmatized in Indian communities as well as African American communities.
Yeah. So, I'm curious to know, what would you say for your age group is kind of like the trigger? What is the biggest opportunity that you guys have, or what is causing the most, from your perspective, of the anxiety and the these mental health issues that younger people are having?
I think a lot of it has to do with the pressure of being perfect all the time. That can bring out the anxiety. What else can bring out the anxiety is the family stresses and the self pressure to do what you want to do, but with no remorse and forgiveness towards yourself. And you can become over ambitious and all of that stuff. And I don't think that is really healthy, and that can lead to anxiety. And I also think the depression can come from a lot of things, family issues, not liking what you see in the mirror, not feeling like you have a purpose when you wake up. And I think that is really important. And there are so many other mental illnesses such as OCD, bipolar. And so I'm not discounting those at all. I am just saying that anxiety and depression are the most common ones that I've seen people deal with.
Have you yourself dealt with any of that?
I would say, luckily, I am fortunate enough. I come from a great family. I have great friends. I have never dealt with any extreme anxiety or depression. Yes, my sadness comes and goes, as it does for any normal human experience. I did debate in high school, so I would say sometimes I would get nervous when I got up to speak. But other than that, I didn't have any actual bouts of anxiety, depression, or anything of that sort. But I think that gives me the opportunity to fight for those who do experience these things, because sometimes for them it's hard to advocate for themselves.
So, what can we do to help our younger people, from your point of view, to deal with their mental issues?
I think that is a great question. I think it takes a lot of steps and effort to be able to deconstruct this whole stigma around mental health and mental illnesses and seeking help. But I think the first step to normalizing it would just be able to talk about it without feeling embarrassed or anxious. If you need to see a therapist and you're going to your therapy appointment and you are with your parents and they're asking you where you're going and you feel too embarrassed to say that you're going to therapy, I think that is a problem that needs to be fixed, and that gets better when you start talking about it. Hey mom, hey dad, hey whoever it may be, I'm going to see a therapist because I have been feeling a little off, or I just want to check out what the therapist might entail. Mm-hmm. Nothing necessarily has to be wrong in order for you to see a therapist, but you should be able to communicate freely about who you're seeing, why it's important to those who need to know.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of people, what stops a lot of people from going is that idea that if I go to therapy, then that means there's something wrong with me. Like, I had a friend at one point who, I'm not going to get into their whole story, but they were dealing with some issues, and I was constantly trying to encourage them. Hey, why don't you go talk to somebody? I'll come with you if you need to. If you're not comfortable with the therapist, she was really heavily into her religious belief. I was like, if not them, not the therapist, maybe there's someone at your church that you could speak with, that you trust and can confide with, or maybe something like that. And the main response that I would get would be, no, because you're not going to want to hang with me if they tell me I'm crazy. I was like, you don't have to be crazy to get help. I think that stops a lot of people from seeking help.
Yeah, you're so right, Develi. I think that's a very interesting story you bring up, that this person was religious and was deterred by a therapist because of their religion. I think that is just as important, because it shows you that people, no matter their religious beliefs, their race, or anything, they should be able to seek help if they need to. And I really feel for this person, because they felt like you would see them differently if they saw someone.
Yeah. People often ask me, DeVille, what do you think about Anchor? We'll relax. I'm going to tell you. First of all, it's free. And when I say free, I mean free. I mean like free as in you can record as many episodes as you want, as long as you want, for free. Secondly, they have all type of creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast, even from your phone or your computer. Many a times, I use my iPhone to edit
slice, and do all types of cool stuff to my podcast right there on the phone. Anchor also will distribute your podcast to different platforms like Spotify, Castbox. It's all over the place. And you can make money without no minimum listenership. That's right. You don't have to have thousands of listeners to almost immediately get advertising on your station and, start running up that check. It's everything that you need to do a podcast in one place. So you know what? Download that free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and get started right now.
Yeah. And I even got to this point myself where I sought out therapy. And it was one of the best things that I've done for myself, because it's a ear, not a judgment or a somebody giving you advice. A lot of times when you go to try to speak with someone, a friend or a family member, you end up getting advice instead of that listening ear. And sometimes you need that listening ear. I tell people, I have this metaphor I use that is like, it's like a bucket. You're like a bucket. Every so often, that bucket gets full and it'll start. If you don't watch it, it'll spill over. So every once in a while, you have to dump that bucket out. And then, you let the bucket fill a little bit more to where you're comfortable dumping that bucket out more and more often. And they also in therapy, what I learned was that sometimes you need that person to kind of push you into those uncomfortable points, into those areas that you tend to block out, that you tend to leave out of the conversation. They'll take you to that uncomfortable, make you comfortable enough to let them take you to that uncomfortable place. And it's beautiful once you come up out of that, man. It is just like, it's one of the best things that I feel like I've ever done for myself.
Yeah, well, first of all, that was amazingly put. I'm actually going to write that bucket metaphor down right now. That was well described. But also, yeah, it's not easy to get help, but it's always worth it, I would say. Like you said also, it was probably really hard at first, but when you finally got to see someone, it was definitely relieving and worth it.
Yeah, because when I initially started telling people, their reactions were, "Is it really that serious that you need to go talk to somebody? Like, you could just talk to us." I was like, "No, because you're not listening to me. You're hearing me, but you're not listening to me. You're listening to respond." And the other response I always got was, "There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need a therapist." Like, but I do. So I had to make that decision myself. And then I have a daughter but I have a daughter who deals with anxiety. And I also deal with anxiety. So we got to a point where I actually had to start helping coach her through these episodes that she have. Like, it may be, and she's 12. It may be a test, one of those, I forget what they call the tests that they take at the end of the year. I don't remember, but it'll be a test, a big test, and she may hit the classroom and just lock up. Or the running thing. She lives out in California now, and they do this mile. They have to get a certain time on running a mile, and she get an anxiety attack about if she's going to be able to pass running this mile in whatever time that they set. And then, so people on the outside, they look at it as it's not that serious, but people have to understand that anxiety, that's why I speak about anxiety often, because I understand it a little more, I think, because I deal with it. But anxiety is a real thing. It's like, when you have these fears for no reason. It's like you're sitting there and your mind will be like, "Are you worried?" And you're like, "No." "Worried about what?" And then your brain answers back like, "Exactly." Find something to worry about,
I mean, for sure. Even if it's not grounded in any actual belief, your brain's just like, "You know what? I don't care. Be worried about something."
Yeah, worry about something. When it'll be times where my daughter's coming from California, and her mom puts her on the plane. She calls me, hey, yeah, she's on the plane. She'll be there XYZ time. Okay, cool. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, something's gonna go wrong. Let me make sure I got everything together so I can get there. We'll get there super early. I'll end up at the airport 3 hours early. Just to make sure
Oh my gosh.
I'm there if anything goes wrong. You know, that's on a bad day. It's like I gotta get there because just in case something happens, I want to be there. And it's just it's wild how it hits you, and you have to learn how to stop yourself and say, wait, hold up, you're being irrational right now, and you know why. Just relax. Everything's cool. Everything's smooth. You know, you got this. And that's the same mantra that I tell her. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying that you're totally right, and I know, like, I don't know your daughter, but I know from a distance that she's so lucky to have an understanding father, even on her roughest days. You know, because that, just by what you're telling me, that seems so hard for her. She gets up so early because she's so anxious about running and all of this, but you're still there for her, fighting against her irrational thoughts, and I think that means the world to her.
Yeah, cause like she'll hit nights where if she could be getting ready to go back to California and she won't be able to sleep. She'll literally be up the whole night. And this is something we've done 100 times maybe. We get up, go to the airport, ticket, search the bag, boom, boom, boom. You get on the airplane. See you later. You land. She knows the process, but it's just that anticipation of, I got to do this tomorrow. Let me make sure everything's just right. Which everything's never just right. And I think that kind of leads sometimes to children and adults will get into that self-medication, where we start to look for, whether not even necessarily talking specifically about like drugs or alcohol, but we'll find something outside of us to try to take that edge or take that pain away. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely agree, and that's actually something that I explore in my book. I mentioned that it's not necessarily bad. Like, I don't have any negative feelings towards if you want to smoke some weed or anything like that. I think everything has to be done in moderation and whatnot. As long as you're taking care of yourself, I think that's all that matters.
Yeah, definitely. So, when is this book? Has it been released yet? It was being released.
Yeah,
this
it
month?
came out earlier this month. Yeah, it came out May 8th because of all the craziness of everything that's going on. Some publicity things have been delayed, but I am so happy to be here and talk about something that's important. And you gave your own story too, and your daughter's story, and that means the world to me and whoever is listening to this.
And when can the people find your book?
You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it by typing in its title and then my first and last name, or just my first and last name, Shoily Banerjee.
Okay.
And if it's sold out, which it may be, you can also buy it on Barnes and Noble.
So do you have any like online promotional things that you got going on to promote your book, push your book?
Well, you can go to my website. It's at www.shoilybanerjee.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at Shoily_, just my first name _ and I hope that you were able to reach out to me because I care about all of you. So I hope, please don't hesitate. I am here and I appreciate you all.
All right. Well, I'm gonna try it again. Shirley.
Yeah.
Did I nail it?
Yeah, Shirley.
Shirley, I really thank you and appreciate you coming.
Yeah, no, perfect.
Speaking with me today. Definitely, you guys get out there, check out that book. Sounds like it's gonna be great. Because we need more people, especially more young people like Shirley out here spreading these messages, and because we have to help each other as a community. Now, Shirley, this is a question that I ask every guest that I have, or at least I try to. Sometimes I forget. Now, what to the people out there that may be going through something, that maybe don't have necessarily somebody they feel like they can talk to immediately, what advice would you give that person to help get them through what they're going through?
I would say, first of all, it is okay not to be okay. And that just means that you shouldn't be expected to be happy all the time. You should be able to experience sadness, like normal humans do, because that's part of the human experience. But you should know when something is wrong. You know yourself better than anyone else. And when you realize that you aren't being how you normally are, or you aren't acting the way you normally do, I hope you know that there are so many people out there and here that would love to talk to you, that want you to know your value, and that are willing to help. You can seek a therapist, and if that isn't attainable at the moment, I gave my social media handles. While I'm not a therapist or a doctor, I will help you get in the right direction. I will help you get the resources you need, because I and everyone else around you want you to succeed and wish the best for you.
Nice. Now tell them one more time the name of that book and where they can find it.
The name of my novel is titled Something, and you can find it on Amazon by typing my first name and last name, or you can buy it on Barnes & Noble.
Now, thank you once again for taking the time out to talk with me today, Shirley. I really do appreciate it. Anything that I can do to help, or any time that you have something that you need to get out there, you make sure you come back to Thoughts by DeVille DI, the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much, Javoli, for having me. I really appreciate this.
No problem. And to the listeners, as always, I love and appreciate each and every one of y'all. I thank y'all for tuning in, because without you guys, I'd just be talking to myself. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever it is that y'all got going on right there. And make sure to take care of your star player, and your star player is you. Okay, we're not recording anymore.
All right, great. Well, first of all, thank you so much again for having me. I apologize if I wasn't talking as much. I was listening to you because you had very interesting things to say. And
thank you. I appreciate that. I try to know what I'm talking about.
No, you definitely. You seem like you knew what you were talking about, and not even that, you were sharing great stories about your life and your daughter's life, and I really want to hear it. So.
No, that's no problem. Well, like I say, anytime you want to come back, just email me and we'll set up a time and we'll do it again.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
And your show will come out. You're actually next up. Your show will be out the upcoming Wednesday. So I'll send you out. I'll send you out the links and everything, and I do like a little small audiogram snippet from the show. I'll send you that. You can use it, to promote or whatever you want to do with it, or nothing.
Yeah, thank you so much again.
No problem. You have a good day.
Thank you too. Bye.
Bye.